Hi guys, my name is Eric Poloni. Today I'm doing a detailed disassembly of the Glock 43. Prior to coming up and working on any weapon, you need to ensure that it's clear. So I keep the barrel flags around, but should always double check the magazine is removed and visually and physically inspect the chamber. I'm going to be doing this disassembly for my Gunsmithing Tools Lab class at SDI. Let's get into it. We're going to be using a few tools for this video. I've got some picks here for moving the magazine catch. Got some brass punches, so I'm not scratching up the surface when I'm removing things like the back plate and some of the different pins you got here. And I've also got some trays, including a magnetic tray for holding small bits and pieces. I start by field stripping the firearm, so once you've ensured that the firearm's clear, pull the trigger, pull the slide slightly to the rear, pull down the takedown lever on either side here, and slide the slide forward and off. You can remove the recoil spring and the barrel. All right, I'm going to set the frame off to the side. I'm going to start with the upper slide here. This does not come apart any further to my knowledge, nor do I plan on taking apart this because it's under a lot of spring pressure. So it's going to stay together. For removing the back plate here, you pull the firing or the striker slightly to the rear, you'll see that little black sleeve down here. What you do, push forward on that. That takes pressure off this back plate. The back plate comes off. What that is this black sleeve right here. It's under pressure. And it's pushing against this back plate right here. It's sliding right in there, and that's what's keeping it in place. For removing the spring and taking apart the striker assembly itself, you can use the slide. It's kind of a holding block to put pressure. I actually got this from Gear's video, ORE Gear. He does a video. He also did a video on the Glock 43 field strip, and detailed disassembly. So you'll lock it into place there. Push down on the spring. You can take these little plugs out right there. There you go. Now you can clean your whole striker assembly. Next, I'll pull out the extractor spring, just that little hole right there. Slides right out. Separate that a little further. This spring and bar is just keeping pressure on your extractor claw right here. That's what helps it grab onto the rim of the cartridge. Once this is no longer under spring pressure, it falls right out. And then nothing else is holding the safety block in anymore, so that just falls out. And make sure not to lose the little spring that's attached there, but make sure to hold on to both of those. Alright, your slide is now fully taken apart. I'm not going to bother removing the sights for this because that's a pain. You can get a tool to do it, but I do not have that tool at this time. Alright, now we're going to move on to the frame. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove this pin right here. You're going to take your slide catch, a little bit of downward pressure towards the front. That takes pressure off. There we go. Takes pressure off of the notch of that spring or that pin right there. And just comes right through. Then move this whole locking block. And the slide catch and spring. The spring should just be right in there, like that. Alright, next I'm going to remove this rear pin. don't need a hammer or anything, just a little bit of pressure. There's a little plastic pin in there. Now you should be able to pull straight up on your trigger and assembly back here. I'll come back to this in just a minute. Alright, for removing this part, your trigger bar, just lift up on the rear portion. So on this trigger assembly, on this trigger bar here, you lift up so it clears that. Pivot out, and it comes out just like that. This has a captive pin holding the trigger to the trigger bar. You can remove it, but it requires you to basically break your trigger to do, or drill a fine hole there. I don't feel like doing that today. Next is your trigger spring here. First, I'm going to push this out. This little piece right here. Gets it out of the way. Next, you lift up. See if you can get into focus again. There we go. Lift up on this. And pivot. Oh, come on. Pivot over. And you'll see a little notch there. And there, it's gone forever. Give me just a second. Alright, this is why it pays to have a clean working environment, because I was able to find the piece very quickly. It didn't fly very far. Alright, so once you rotate it over enough, it'll slide over that notch and come off. And then pull the spring out. And this little bar here. And that's the part that locks into this part. Alright, so now we've completely taken apart the strike assembly there. A few more parts we can remove on the frame itself. So there's a little spring here holding your takedown bar. Alright, so there's a little spring holding the takedown bar. You can kind of see it through that gap there. Pull that spring down and slide the takedown bar out. There we go. People like to replace these with wider bars so they can get more of a grip on it when taking apart their firearm. Spring there. Alright, you can also remove the magazine catch. There you go. There's a little pin spring. It's a straight spring down there holding the magazine catch in place. That just needs to have pressure taken off of it. So I'm going to do that real quick with this pick. There, now you can move that to swap out, get a larger trigger or larger magazine release in there, whatever you want to do. And that is Glock 43 disassembled. Alright, for reassembly, I'm just going to go start where I finished and work my way backwards. So, making sure, installing Again, just going to pull that spring out of the way so that you can pivot the catch into where it's supposed to be. So it helps have a variety of different shaped picks for prying and pushing the different ways you want to push. So that's in there, doing what it's supposed to do now. All right. Install the takedown bar. So guys, sorry about that. What I had to do right there, I had to go back and watch some footage. So I helped to take pictures and record video of your taking down a firearm. In case you forget which way parts are supposed to be oriented. I forgot which way this notch is supposed to be oriented, and it's towards the rear of the firearm because it rests against the barrel right there like that. So move that spring pressure, get it back into place, and there you go. It's locked in, doing what it's supposed to do there. Go back to the striker sear assembly over here. All right, first, so black bar we were looking at earlier, slide in. While you're holding pressure against it, slide this spring on. And you're going to line up that hole, this piece again, with your bar there holding the spring. Far back enough, and rotate up. So you see it's caught on there. Rotate up. It's back in place. Reinstall this. The spring right here is not supposed to sit flush. It's supposed to have some outward pressure. Now you'll install this trigger bar. There we go. All right. Place all that back into your frame here. You're supposed to put the side catch down in there first. And from right to left, line up your trigger. Should be able to push it all through. And there we go. Just have to right in place. I didn't even need to use a push, punch, or anything. Alright. Install my plastic pin here. Just to get it level. Looks good. Oh, come on. There we go. Test for function here. Everything looks good. Alright. Alright, now I'm going to reassemble the slide. Start my striker assembly here. Get that back together. There you go. Alright. So I'm going to start my extractor spring, plunger, and the wrong side. Drop safety here. Alright, dropping the drop safety back in. But the spring end in first. You will line up the more squared off edge towards the outside of the frame. Outside of the slide, I should say. There we go. And you will drop the extractor back into place, locking them both in. Extractor, spring, and plunger. Striker assembly here. You're going to push down on that black sleeve I was talking about earlier as you slide up on this back plate. Take it to the point where you reach the extractor spring. And you just got to push that down, get out of the way, and push the back plate back up. There you go. And you'll hear it click. It's back into place. Drop the barrel in. Recoil spring. Reassemble and functions check. As you tuck it back, it locks back into place. Good to go. Guys, that was the detailed disassembly of the Glock 43. Appreciate you guys bearing with me as I did this. I've done different small components here and there before, but I've never done it all together at once. So appreciate your patience. Thanks for watching.